How do you do, good people of the world? Be thou healthy, and welcome to the weekend. It's Q&A time. This is your bFIT bonus. Let's go. What is good in your hood, Balanced Fit family? This is bFIT bonus. The $20 bill you found in Balanced Fit Radio's pants pocket. Some hopefully useful stuff you can carry into the weekend. I'm Scott, certified personal trainer, certified nutrition coach, performance enhancement specialist, and corrective exercise specialist, blah, blah, blah. Let's get into it. All right. Well, everyone, I'm pretty psyched that this is becoming a regular thing, and I'm happy to receive your inquiries. This Q&A thing is pretty awesome. I think it's a great thing when people seek to elevate themselves, and by doing so, you necessarily make the space around you better. So if you have a question, send it in, scott@balancefitsc.com, or message me on the socials if you must partake. And please, whilst you're doing so, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast and my YouTube channel so you can get this stuff into your cranial inbox on a regular basis. I hate talking about the begging, asking for subscriptions and likes and notification bells and all the stuff because I just hate all this digital addiction. But if you value something, you got to play the game that's in front of you. You got to live in the world in which you live, not the world in which you want to live, and you can change the rules along the way. So please make sure you are subscribed to all the things because you know it helps. And it also helps if you know someone else who you think could benefit from this, share these or have them subscribe as well. And with your subscriptions, you push their stupid little algorithm and it gets out to more people. So think about it in terms of how it can benefit other people rather than how it can benefit some random podcaster or whatever you want to call me. I'm not a podcaster, am I? I'm a trainer. I'm a coach. What else? If you want to follow me on the socials, that's fine. But honestly, I'd rather you stay out of your phones as much as possible. I'm going to add something to the Q&A because I like riffing on this stuff. And we're going to do fitness headlines to carry into the weekend. And we're going to start here. A new 20-year study, 20 years. Can you even imagine? A new 20-year study suggests eating pecans can significantly improve cholesterol and boost heart health. First of all, let's back up for a second. Do you say pecans? Or pecans, or pecans? I'd never heard that one before until I lived in Southeast Texas, in Houston, where there are a lot of pecan trees. I grew up in North Georgia, just a little outside Atlanta, so I'm a Southern boy, but I grew up saying pecan, I think because my Nana, who goes back... Her family goes back, I don't even know how many generations in Cherokee County, Georgia. My granddaddy, her husband, grew up in the upstate of South Carolina where I currently live. And there's lots of pecan trees in this area. But anyway, I grew up saying pecan because I think Nana wanted to elevate the discourse. She did not want to sound... let's just say it, rednecky or trashy. And I think just kind of elevating the enunciation, pronunciation, and use of the language was one of her little subtle ways to try to make us all kind of strive for being a little bit better. That is not to suggest in any form whatsoever that if you use some other form of the pronunciation of the word pecan, that you are less than. Just sharing some stories. So I grew up saying pecan. My wife, who is from the Midlands of South Carolina, grew up saying pecan. I'm wrong to her. I've learned to adapt. And so I gradually shifted over the last, how long have we been married, hun? 27 years, 26 years. When you get past 25, it doesn't matter. You can forget as long as you remember your anniversary, May 16th. Anyway, so I adapted to her pronunciation of pecan, and in East Texas, by the way, that was the first time I ran across pecan. Anyway, they significantly improve cholesterol and boost heart health, which is really not surprising because they are high in monounsaturated fats, which is very good for clearing gross stuff out of your arteries and so forth. Loaded with all kinds of minerals like copper and zinc and magnesium and all that kind of stuff, which we know is really, really good for you. They're low on the glycemic index, which is if you're diabetic, pre-diabetic, or concerned about your sugar intake, which you should be, these are a good food. And they're loaded with fiber and protein. And so the satiety factor goes up. Satiety, satiation, you're full, you're satisfied. That's what that means. So eat pecans, eat walnuts. Those are good for you too. Nuts in general, just be careful because yes, they are loaded with good fats, but they are loaded with fats. So intake appropriately. Next headline, walking just 10 minutes a day can lead to a longer life with even moderate increases in daily activity, boosting longevity. No kidding. Walking. Yes. Put your shoes on and go for a walk. Whenever you can find the time, walk as much as you can. Walking, if you are in the I want to lose fat category, there is no better exercise that you can do for yourself to lose visceral fat than walking. And that means that's a low intensity, steady state variety of walking where you get yourself into around zone 2. Don't worry about it. You can just, if you're walking along, hopefully you walk with somebody. It's a good way to decompress your brain and actually connect with other humans. But you want to walk at a steady pace, constant pace that makes it slightly difficult for you to carry on that conversation with the person next to you without kind of not struggling, but without maintaining just a nice, easy breathing pattern. So that conversation should be just a little bit difficult to carry on. That's when you know you're in the right zone for that. 30 to 90 minutes. Let's fall right in the middle because the universe demands balance. Let's say 60 minutes. 3, 4, 5 times a week, whatever. Walking, low intensity, steady state cardio, like walking, you can do that as much as you need. It's not intense. It does not require recovery like resistance training or HIIT or other more intense forms of exercise. So do it as much as possible. Also, bonus pro tip, walk after dinner. Let your food settle for a few minutes to get up, put your shoes on, take the dogs or the kids or whoever, and go for a little 10, 15, 20-minute walk after dinner. And don't worry about your pace here. Just get up and move. That will help your digestion, which will help a whole lot of things going on in your gut, and everybody's gut is pretty jacked up these days. So yes, go walk. You'll live longer, and you'll be happier. By the way, when you walk, I get it. Listen to podcasts, listen to music, that kind of thing, but reserve at least part of your walk. Please don't look at your phone while you're walking, for God's sakes. You got to disengage your eyes, man. We're going to talk about that later, but aside from walking, just 10 minutes a day can lead to a longer life. Yes, one of those things is the psychological and emotional factor of disengaging from the ridiculous electronics that we are addicted to. So put your phone away. If you want to listen to a podcast or music, that's fine. But please, I would suggest reserving some time for that walk to let your brain be. Just let it breathe. Just let it sit. Let it wander. It's going to be much healthier for you. You've got to process a lot of this backlog of thoughts that you've blocked up by jamming constant engagement into your meaningless engagement into your brain. So get out of your phones, take the earbuds out, and just chill while you're walking. That'll help you live longer too. Next headline. This is from the No Screaming Eagle Shit department. Couldn't see this coming, right? While GLP-1 drugs, Ozempic and all that garbage, are effective. While they are effective, because they're going to block your neuroreceptors that make you hungry, so you're just going to eat less chemically. New findings warn of rapid weight regain after stopping, highlighting the need for consistent lifestyle changes. Hey, if you do the consistent lifestyle changes, you don't need the drug. Now, I know we can argue all day long that if in cases of extreme obesity where it's life-threatening and we got to safely get weight off as quickly as possible, yes, these are helpful. However, jamming a drug, another pharmaceutical, another chemical in your body to do something that you can do on your own through other methods that are, aside from fat loss, are going to benefit your life exponentially by orders of magnitude. Becoming stronger, becoming fitter, increasing your cardio health, disengaging your brain from the electronic nonsense, walking, lifting weights, resistance exercises of all kind, just general exercise. All of those things are going to help you. And remember, we don't cut fat in the gym. We cut fat in the kitchen. Should say we build, the old adage about you don't build a six-pack in the gym, you build it in the kitchen. Same thing. You don't slim down in the gym, you slim down in the kitchen. So highlighting the need for consistent lifestyle changes. That's what you need to do here. And new findings warn of rapid weight regain after stopping. Well, guess what? That's not an accident. It's designed to keep you on it forever. Is that where you want to be? Going to leave that up to you. Going to move on from that because I could go on for days about that. And finally, smart fitness clothing is emerging as the next big trend, with wearable technology able to track health metrics directly from clothing. Really? This is what we're doing? Come on, y'all. I know we're all extremely wealthy. According to everything that I hear, we're all extremely wealthy, perfect. We have enough, everyone has enough money, and we're all psychologically and emotionally well so that we can spend money, time, and resources and all kinds of stuff on clothes that track your health. Please stop. Take that money and put it in a little jar. Keep doing that. Come back to it and stick it somewhere, invest it in something useful at the end of a year. Look, man, do what you're going to do. Buy your stuff. But no one is out there designing things for you to wear that benefit you directly. I'm a capitalist. I believe if you provide a good and a service that I need, I'm willing to trade my resources for it. Then that's how we have a symbiotic social relationship when it comes to things like that. But let's be a little bit smarter, shall we? Wearable fitness clothing. Let's stop being ridiculous. These things are bad enough. They've gotten out of control. I'm going to do a whole episode on wearables. They're useful as long as you don't get addicted to them. But anyway, all right, let's move on to the Q&A section. So I'm going to start here because I've received this question over and over and over again in many different forms, from a lot of different people, from a lot of different places. So I'm going to take all of that and I'm going to kind of amalgamate it, kind of compress it together into sort of one overarching question. And so to Eric in Richmond, Virginia, Carrie in Sugarland, Texas, lots of pecan trees, Rachel in Poughkeepsie, New York, Brittany in Nashville, Emily in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Jeff in Charlotte, et cetera, so on and so on. And these are men and women who range from 20 to 50. The basic question is, and this might seem like a very banal, basic kind of a question, but it's really not, because it's the thing that trips most people up, because people tend to, once they get in the contemplation phase and on into the action phase of a fitness slash nutrition slash wellness plan, they tend to launch at it without a direction. And that's the thing that trips people up and leads them to just sort of quitting, fizzling out, because they get frustrated. They don't make a plan to track their metrics, to start with a foundation, grow from it, and pivot throughout the things, from things that are not working to things that may work. Afraid to experiment, kind of looking at social media, seeing the rigidity of some of the ideas out there and getting stuck in something, getting tracked into something, and it's not productive for them, so they just fade away. So my advice for you is to first identify the motivation for why you're doing this. Identify the motivation. Really, really, really consider just exactly what you want and how it's going to benefit your life and even the lives of those around you. So, do you want to run Spartan races? Do you want to be a power lifter? Do you want to be a bodybuilder? Do you just want to be healthy overall? Do you want to be a runner? Cyclist? What is it that you want to do? And figure that out, and figure out why. Why do you want to do this? And how is it going to benefit your life? And are there any drawbacks that will outweigh the benefits? Young men, there's a lot of bodybuilding stuff on the YouTubes and all those places, and that's great. But if you're Eric, who's 20 in Richmond, Virginia, and this isn't what you said, but I'm just picking you out because this seems to be a young man thing. Young women too. Bodybuilding. If you want to be a bodybuilder, that's great, but I want you to think about it, and I want you to figure out why. Is this a sport that you want to get into, in which you want to compete and maybe make your living? Is it even feasible for you to do that? So, because there are a lot of drawbacks to bodybuilding, it's really, really difficult on the body. So consider that. Figure out what you want to do, why you want to do it, how it's going to benefit you, and how it's going to benefit the people around you. That's where you need to start. And we talked about this a few episodes ago. Find your why. Why are you going to do? That's the thing that's going to keep you on this plan. So whether it's your spouse or your another loved one, your kids, or whether you just want to be the best employee, be ready for, feel better at work, whatever it is, make sure that your why is sustainable. Your why shouldn't be something like, I don't know, I want more ripped dudes. I want to be friends with more ripped dudes, or whatever. Just make sure that your why translates to your overall well-being. And goals. Kind of alluded to this at first, but if you've been in the fitness world at all, and if not, you may have heard of this, but this is a standard. It's SMART goals, SMART. So you need to set your SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And what that means is specific. So don't say, I want to be a better runner. You're going to fizzle out if you do that. If you say, I'm going from the couch to 5K, I want to be able to go from the couch to a 5K in 3 months. And I want to average 8.5 minute miles. That's specific. That's also measurable. That's also time bound. We kind of knocked all that out right there with talking about that. So you want to, how long are you giving yourself to achieve this goal? Can you measure this? Yeah, you can measure. If you're going from the couch to a 5K in 3 months and you're not running at all now and you want to run 8.5 minute miles, you can certainly measure that. That's easy to measure. Is it achievable? Of course, absolutely. Unless you have some very serious medical issues that really limit your physical ability, yes, it's achievable, of course. Is it relevant? Is it relevant to your life? That's up to you to figure out. if you're going to derive joy from this, if you're going to derive fitness and wellness, a better state of mind from this, then absolutely it's relevant. And time bound, that was built right in 3 months. We said that. So that's how you build SMART goals. And you need to allow for phasing and cycles of these, because you may have to adjust. And don't get married to a plan, right? Don't fall in love with plan A, because maybe you get off the couch and within 4 to 6 weeks, you're doing, just because of genetics or whatever, you're doing way better at running than you thought you were. So adjust. Maybe you can lower that average mile time you want to do. Maybe you can take it from a 5K to a 10K. Who knows? So don't fall in love with plan A. Be able to adjust on that. And speaking of the plan, make your plan and follow it. But as I said, be able to pivot and adjust, because not everything's going to work for you. And especially if you're just starting out in some kind of fitness regimen, you're going to have to experiment and figure out what works for you. Okay? So make that plan and follow it. Diversify your exercise. Don't get locked into something. Change things up and try new stuff. Do different things. Play around with it. The whole point is that you're up and moving and getting healthier. So don't be worried about whether you're lifting 3 or 4 days a week and you got to be locked into that. Cycle off. Do a lifting cycle for 8 weeks and then go do something else. I don't even know. Go do hiking, whatever. Be able to pivot off of that, because that's going to keep you fresh and it's going to help you come back. You're not going to lose all your gains. It's going to help you come back mentally and physically stronger and rested and repaired if you kind of cycle some of these things in and out. And so make that plan. Stick to your plan. But here's the thing I want to say too. Track your plan. Track it. So there's lots of fitness trackers, fitness tracker apps, and you can just open up your notes app and make notes. But here's something I recommend, because you all know by now you all know how I feel about getting stuck in your phone. And you ever heard of the 11th rep? The 11th rep is at the gym when you bust out that 10th rep, and it takes you a microsecond. You can't even let your eyes open and your brain breathe for half a second before that phone's up in your face. Put your damn phone away. I strongly recommend getting a physical notebook and a physical pen or a pencil and writing it down. That is going to help your cognitive process. When you actually physically write stuff down, you actually remember it. This is 100% true. Digital stuff is in and out. We don't remember it. We don't lock it in. It comes and goes. So if you want to have total wellness, universal wellness in your life, get a notebook and write your stuff down. That is my kind of broad answer to how do you get started. How do you get started with a fitness or wellness plan or regimen? All right, moving on. From Stephanie in Bend, Oregon. Do you recommend any specific diet for overall health? There are a lot of trends, yes, there are, out there that people swear by. I walk and do resistance training and want to maintain strength and stamina, but I'm not a big eater. I weigh 130. I get that. I can't stuff myself like that either. I weigh 135 pounds, and I don't really think I can eat 135 grams or more of protein a day. Just don't want to eat that much. All right. I hear you. I feel you. Do I recommend any specific diet for overall health? No. I do not like trends. I do not like fads. I do not believe that everything works for everybody. There's so many factors in nutrition that you don't even think about. Not only your genetics. So like, where do you even know? Have you done a DNA test? Do you have any idea what's inside of you? Because there are very definite factors at play involving genetics and how you process certain kinds of food. So understand your genetics. Understand your individual self. What kind of health risks do you have? What kind of factors, physical factors, does your particular genetic and individual DNA makeup, the stuff you got from your parents and your grandparents, how does that come into play as to whether you whether you can properly process certain foods or not. Do you even like certain foods or not? Don't force yourself to eat something that you're not going to eat, because once again, just like starting a regimen, a lifting or a fitness regimen that involves stuff that you don't enjoy, you're going to quit. You're going to fizzle out. Same thing with nutrition here. So what's out there? Mediterranean is not bad because it's kind of focuses on fruits, veggies, whole grains, fish, and olive oil, and those things are all awesome. But maybe you have a gluten or celiac issue or something like that, some kind of gut issue where grains or something gives you trouble. Maybe you're allergic to certain kind of fish. So once again, you can't get married into this. Keto's out there. Here comes the hate. You ready for the hate? Because I'm going to say it. I don't like keto. I don't believe in it unless you are, hey, if you enjoy it, knock yourself out. I don't think it's going to be good for you overall. There are some medical concerns where a ketogenic diet helps, but your brain, let's start there. Your brain needs carbohydrates to function, period, end of story, full stop. So yes, and people can take keto to extremes where it's no carb. That's going to kill you eventually. So going no to low carb and high fat, even if you're sticking to mono and polyunsaturated fats, it's still an imbalance. And there's a reason that the word balance is in the name of my business. So I'm not for or against any of these things for any individual. Let's be perfectly clear about that. I'm just giving opinions and try to putting information out there, but I am personally not a fan of low to no carb diets because you need carbohydrates, particularly if you are exercising. Your body has to have fuel. Okay. Vegan. If you have a moral compunction toward veganism, fantastic. Do you. I don't think it's healthy. Vegan, if you don't know, everybody has to know, but I don't want to presume. No animal products of any kind. I don't think that's good. That tends to push us toward protein sources that are not the best, or not natural, or are derived from products that we don't need to overconsume, like soy. So, not a fan of that one. Intermittent fasting became a fad. And this is another one that it might work for you. If it works for you, great. Your body is a machine, and the machine parts need to take a break. So, but there's a reason that breakfast is called breakfast breakfast, because hopefully you haven't been jamming your face up until bedtime. So let's say you eat dinner at 7 o'clock, you go to bed at 10 o'clock, and you get up at 6 o'clock, whatever. Well, that's 11 hours of fasting. Is that good enough? Should be, I guess, right? Let's make sure that when you do break the fast that you're breaking it with appropriate foods and not a bunch of sugar, overly processed stuff, and refined carbohydrates. Let's make sure that we don't do that, because that's how I grew up. We didn't know any better. We had a bowl. I ate cereal. Thank God for milk, right? Because I don't know, we all started with like Pop-Tarts and cereal and shit like that, and there was a bowl of sugar in the middle of the table that I was in charge of, or I should say that no one was in charge of. Anyway, start it with balance. Break that fast with balance. Carbohydrates, fats, good carbohydrates, useful fuel, healthy fats, and good clean protein. Okay? All right. And what else at paleo? I mean, paleo is based in whole foods that our ancient ancestors ate. Anytime you're eating whole foods, I'm for it. You want to experiment with that? Great. How about carnivore? Nah. Again, I'm about balance. That's too much of one thing. The DASH diet is new, and that's a low sodium fruit, veg, lean protein thing. And Can't hate on that. Be careful going too low sodium. Your body needs sodium. Guess what needs to happen for all the muscle fibers, all the mechanical stuff that happens when your muscles contract. Don't need to get into all the boring science on that, but you need sodium for that. Okay? So, Stephanie, to answer your question, no, I don't recommend any specific diet for overall health. I would simply suggest that you lean into whole foods, that you lean away from ultra-processed foods, that you limit added sugar, you limit added salt, because most natural food, whole foods, contain enough sodium for you, that you consume as much lean protein as possible, balanced with a good macro split with good carbohydrates and healthy fats, and you'll be fine. And if you have some kind, and match it to your lifestyle. If you're getting after it, if you're doing HIIT twice a week plus resistance training, and you're running or walking, you're gonna need more carbohydrates. Okay, you got to refuel your body. You're also gonna need more protein. So maybe you slide your ratio to higher protein and carb consumption and lower fat consumption so that your calories balance out. But fit your nutrition plan to yourself. Eat stuff that you like. I'm in the middle of composing a big nutrition episode, so stay tuned for that. Lastly, we're going to wrap it up here with Henry. By the way, strong name. Henry's 17. That's a good name. Strong name. We're getting a little too weird with the names for kids these days, people. But you do you. Henry from Des Moines, Iowa, says, I'm a 17-year-old male just beginning to lift weights. How do you feel about bodybuilding? Well, I touched on this a little bit earlier, Henry, and once again, I am not going to tell you what to do or what not to do. I simply want to put out educated information into the world, laced with my opinion. I don't like bodybuilding specifically as an activity for health. It is really stressful on the body, and it's not very useful. Here's what I didn't say. Building muscle is not useful. That ain't what I said. Building excessive amounts of muscle is not particularly useful unless you're going to be a professional bodybuilder, or a power lifter, which is, that's a different thing. So let's stick with bodybuilding. And there's different levels of this. Okay. If you're 17, so if you join the military and you're a badass and you want to be in the SEAL teams or a Green Beret or whatever, you want to do something like that, you're going to need to be physically extraordinary. But there are a lot of guys, and in fact, I would say probably the majority of those guys that aren't monsters, but they're strong. So when it comes to the specifics of bodybuilding, I think it's degenerative to the body. If you want to compete at it, you're probably going to have to use gear, which I think is horrifically detrimental. I will say that. I don't care what the bodybuilding community says, and I don't care about aesthetics and things like that. Horrifically awful for everything in your life. But if you want to do it, if that's a thing that you want to do, you need to figure out why. Why do you want to do that? Is it a passion of yours that you want to compete at, make a living at, and coach people at, whatever, on down the line? Then you need to make sure that you are doing it safely. You need to make sure that you're doing it appropriately and train the proper way. But how would you say, how do I feel about it? I don't like it. I think it's unhealthy, and I think it's unbalanced. So I'm going to leave that with that and right there, and that's probably a good time to go ahead and get out of here. All right, that is it for this bFIT bonus. Take this into the weekend and put it into motion. Now get out and go move yourself. Read, write, think, connect, and do things. Be mindful, be fit, be capable and resolute. And I'll leave you with this thought from the Greek physician Hippocrates about 2,400 years ago. Quote, If we could give every individual the right amount of nourishment and exercise, not too little and not too much, we would have found the safest way to health. Word 'em up, Hippocrates. Take care of your body, mind, and spirit, and don't worry about the big picture. Just take care of now, right now. And don't have a good weekend, y'all. Have a joyful weekend, whatever that means to you. Now, peace out, homies, and I'll see y'all next time.